If authorities brought you into the criminal justice system, it may really have obliterated your sense of self, your confidence, what you stand for, who you are. It may leave you thinking or even questioning your value in the world. That's what happens to a lot of people, particularly for non-criminogenic people, meaning people that don't see themselves as criminals. And sometimes they're wondering, how did I get myself into this mess? And when it happens, sometimes they want to just pull the cover over their eyes and forget everything and just try and disappear into some other universe or some other world. But we can't do that. We can't change the past. Anytime somebody comes into the system, that's the time to start visualizing the best possible outcome. Not some fantasy of wishing it went away, because the wishes are not going to make it happen. A person has to sow seeds and then nurture those seeds and build a body of work that shows that individual is worthy of new opportunities. You've got to visualize it first. My name is Michael Santos, and I'm the founder of Prison Professors. I didn't know how to do that when I started. When authorities arrested me back in the mid-1980s, I was very young. I was 20 when I got into trouble. And I was 23 when the authorities arrested me. By then, I'd never had a real job. I'd never really done anything in my life. So I couldn't see the future. It wasn't till it was too late. It was after I got sentenced after I got convicted. Before I got sentenced, but after I got convicted, that I had this epiphany, is I had to stop thinking about my own challenges right now and start visualizing the best possible outcome. And in our lesson today on daily discussions, that's what we talk about, visualization. So I'll turn to a little blurb where I'll quote Brendon Burchard. He's a best-selling author and personal coach. In his books on pursuing success, he wrote about visualizing outcomes. He noted that inexperienced personal development teachers always tell audiences to visualize, but often in a tragically limited way. They tell audiences to visualize nothing but victory. High achievers know that it is even more critical to envision themselves at the point where they want to quit and then see themselves working through the struggle. Now, if you're going through this system, there are probably a lot of times when you want to quit. There are a lot of times when you want to give up. I know that I faced those dark times until I learned to follow this path, visualize, plan, execute. You've got to be able to pursue this path that allows you to live as the CEO of your own life. Now, let's listen to today's lesson on the daily discussion, and then I'll ask some questions for you to consider once I finished reading the lesson for you. So there is a good chance that people working through Prison Professors courses live in challenging times. In today's message, I want to share a story about the power of visualizing outcomes. Course participants may find a way to use this concept to transform their lives. After reading the story of Socrates, I got inspired to change my life. Despite knowing that I'd be in prison for multiple decades, I could see the potential that would open if I chose to lead a better life. When I finished my term, I wanted to build a career. I could empower myself by visualizing the outcome I wanted. Since I began serving a 45-year sentence in a high-security penitentiary, many people that served time alongside me had ideas about the best way to adjust. From their perspective, the best way to serve time would be to forget about the world outside. That adjustment strategy existed for people in jails and prisons across America. The outcome from such an approach, however, usually translates into more problems. Too many people leave prison to find challenges with unemployment, underemployment, or homelessness, and many encounter more problems with the law. When a person spends multiple decades in prison, the mannerisms of the penitentiary become a part of life. Those mannerisms evoke preconceived ideas about a person's ability to contribute meaningfully and positively to society. By leaving prison with the mannerisms of the penitentiary, I thought I would have a more challenging time opening the opportunities that would lead to success. I had to visualize what I could do with the resources around me to overcome. Rather than making a name for myself in prison, I wanted to connect with leaders in society. Those people, I believed, could lead me to a pathway for new opportunities. As a result of that visualization, I used to write unsolicited letters to leaders. If I read an article in a newspaper about people I believed could advance my cause, I would try to connect with them. For example, I read an article in the Wall Street Journal about the need for more prisons and longer sentences. Professor John DiIulio of Princeton University wrote that we needed longer sentences. I disagreed and wrote a letter to explain why I thought his thesis missed the mark. By writing to Professor John DiIulio, I opened a line of communication with one of the most influential penologists in the nation. We began a correspondence. In my 8th year, he coordinated a field trip for a group of his students from Princeton to visit the federal prison in Bradford, Pennsylvania. That visit opened an opportunity to teach a group of Princeton students from the warden's conference room. I tell that story in my book, Earning Freedom, Conquering a 45-Year Sentence. I wrote hundreds of letters to people that did not know me. Some of those letters resulted in finding mentors. They would visit me in prison, and they became vested in my success over time. With their trust, I felt compelled to prove worthy, giving me the fortitude to keep going, even when times got tough. When we visualize positive outcomes, we can take action to make the seemingly impossible possible. What do you visualize as the best possible outcome for your life 1 year from today? What do you picture as the best possible outcome for your life 5 years from today? What do you envision as the best possible outcome for your life 10 years from today? And in what ways do the visualizations you have for your life at different stages relate? How does visualizing your success differ from fantasizing about what you want in life? The word of the day is evoke. I'm asking you to define evoke. And I'm asking you to use evoke in a sentence. You see, the more thought you give to what you want to accomplish, the more you start to build confidence that you can architect your own strategy. It may be an unconventional strategy. If you're a justice-impacted person, by definition, it should be an unconventional strategy. You have to figure out what does success look like for me? For some people, it could be an extraordinarily high level of success, as I've revealed in some of the people we profiled on our program at Prison Professors. Some of the people have gone on to build multi-million-dollar careers as the leaders of corporate training companies, or an artist who sells his paintings all over the world to high net worth individuals, to people who have launched construction businesses or real estate businesses. What is going to be your future? When I started in the journey, I didn't really know what my future was going to be like, but I remember thinking that I would always be unemployable because I knew that I was going to have served 26 years in prison. I knew that I went to prison when I was in my early 20s, and I wouldn't get out till I was nearly 50. I'd never had work experience. I've never been able to learn so many things about the world because I was locked in prison. So I visualized this career where I could work to help other justice-impacted people reach their highest potential. And that strategy required me to be very intentional about my adjustment strategy in prison. I had to focus on developing my vocabulary, on improving my writing skills, on becoming really a self-directed individual, working on my own products and building critical thinking skills so that I could avoid the complications that complicate life for so many other people who go into the criminal justice system. You have to be thinking about that, even though you may not want to. It may be difficult to face reality. the reality that the authorities have brought you into the system. But if the authorities have brought you into the system, all that means is you have to adjust. You have to think about what can you do today to begin sowing seeds for a better outcome. What can you do to position yourself that regardless of what external forces do, you've got your own strategies that you can use, and you're going to have to build a plan. You're going to have to put people in place that are going to help you execute your plan. You're going to have to build your tools, tactics, and resources. But if you do that, you can be different from everyone else that goes through this journey. That's why I ask for you to visit prisonprofessors.com and read about people who've gone through the journey successfully. There are plenty of examples of failure, but not a lot of examples of success, because the vast majority of people that go into this system face enormous challenges for the rest of their life. You've got to raise your hand and say, it's not going to be me. I'm going to build my path. That's what Prison Professors is all about. So if you're listening to this on iTunes or watching on YouTube, please click over on the internet and visit us at prisonprofessors.com so you can get more free information that I hope will help you get better outcomes. But if you're in a jail or a prison and you don't have access to the internet, but you do have access to this programming, don't just use it as an entertainment guide for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. Use it as part of your own personal development strategy to become the best in the world at what you can do. My name is Michael Santos. I'm the founder of Prison Professors, and I believe in you.